The saga begins with a flashback to the golden days of youth. In a dim room, high schoolers huddle around a screen, united by frustration. Damn it, died again. Echoes in the air as they face the brutal chronicles of expires, a game notorious for its unforgiving difficulty. Driven by an obsessive desire to conquer chronicles of expires, he frantically manipulated the controls, whispering that victory was finally within reach. Yet, the ruthless reality of the game crushed his hopes with a bloody game-over screen, proving that passion alone wasn't enough to survive. Defeated and exhausted, he buried his face in his hands, cursing the impossible difficulty that erased all his progress in the blink of an eye. 8 years later, the once fiery passion has been extinguished by the cold reality of adulthood. Trapped in the monotonous cycle of a soul-crushing IT job, he stares blankly at lines of code, his dreams of game development buried under the weight of compromise. The lonely commute home through the rain mirrors his internal emptiness, a stark contrast to the vibrant ambition of his youth. A sudden buzz breaks the monotony of the crowded subway commute, signaling an unexpected message. It's a reunion invitation from an old classmate, a mundane notification that unexpectedly triggers a dormant memory. As his eyes widen in realization, the forgotten bet resurfaces, sparking a dangerous idea: to conquer the impossible game before the reunion. Weeks of sleepless nights were consumed by the ruthless chronicles of expires, yet every attempt ended with the mocking crimson text, "You die." Pushed to the brink of physical and mental exhaustion, with the final scenario remaining an unbreachable wall, he realized that pure skill was a dead end. With the reunion looming and no progress made, he gritted his teeth, accepting that he had no choice but to compromise his principles to win. The line between determination and obsession blurred as he sat bathed in the monitor's glow, a mischievous, almost sinister grin spreading across his face. With the rhythmic clack-clack of the keyboard, he abandoned the rules, his fingers dancing to weave a code of forbidden power. Invincibility, the word hung heavy in the air, a testament to his desperate defiance against a game that refused to be beaten. The clack-clack of the keyboard reaches a fever pitch as he inputs the final command, his finger hovering over the glowing enter key. With a heart full of anticipation, the caption reads, marking the pivotal moment where reality blurs. As he presses down, the screen explodes in blinding white light, swallowing the rune and his consciousness, dragging him into the digital abyss he sought to conquer. As his consciousness is forcibly ripped from the physical world, his body begins to disintegrate into countless digital fragments, scattering like dust in the wind. The boundaries of reality dissolve completely, pulling him into the very game he sought to conquer. In this terrifying transition, his final desperate double quotes is swallowed by the blinding light of the monitor, marking the irreversible beginning of his new existence. He opens his eyes, not to the familiar chaos of his room, but to the lavish elegance of a royal chamber. A glance in the golden mirror reveals a stranger's reflection, a tall, devastatingly handsome noble with flowing blonde hair. "Right now, I'm inside the game," he murmurs, the surreal realization sinking in that his digital hack has rewritten his very existence. The initial law of his new aristocratic existence evaporates as a familiar blue interface flickers into view. His eyes widen, not in wonder, but in sheer disbelief as he reads the cruel twist of fate, embers of noble blood. The game acknowledges his hacking, not with a ban, but with a sadistic irony, granting him a useless trait that mocks his attempt to cheat the system. The cruel punchline of his divine punishment is revealed. He examines the hack trait. The god mode he engineered has been mercilessly nerfed to a pathetic 1-second invincibility with a crippling cooldown. Cold sweat runs down his face as the lethal math sets in. He is left defenseless for 59 seconds of every minute, turning his cheat into a survival nightmare. The weight of his broken cheat crashes down on him. A 60-second cooldown for a mere second of invincibility. It's a survival nightmare. "Because I'm a cheater, double quotes he realizes, sweat pouring down his face as he envisions the grim reality of dodging death for 59 seconds. Yet, amidst the panic, he straightens his collar, clinging to his only lifeline, the prestige of being the eldest son of the great tennis family. Awakening to an unfamiliar scent, he finds himself in a body sculpted by the gods themselves. As he gazes into the mirror, he is greeted by a breathtakingly handsome stranger with golden hair, a stark contrast to his former self. "Damn, I'm good looking," he marvels, his narcissism momentarily eclipsing the bizarre reality of his transmigration into a flower boy noble. Stepping back from the mirror, he surveys his new surroundings with awe. The room is a masterpiece of opulence, adorned with exquisite paintings and a grand canopy bed that screams royalty. Damn, I'm from a rich family, he muses, realizing that Protagonist isn't just handsome, but incredibly wealthy. Yet, as he settles into a plush velvet chair, a nagging question arises amidst the luxury: who exactly is this character who seemingly has it all? The stark blue light of the status window pierces the room's opulence, delivering a brutal reality check. Protagonist, the name floats mockingly above the traits list, revealing a cruel joke: blessing, none. As he stares at the glowing text, the weight of his situation crashes down. He is a high-born noble with absolutely zero talent, a powerless figure in a ruthless world. The initial shock of his broken cheat has passed, replaced by a wave of cold sweat and a dawning realization of his precarious existence. Because I'm a cheater, double quotes, he murmurs. Clutching his head, he envisions the grim reality of a 60-second cooldown in a world teeming with monsters. Yet, amidst the panic, he straightens his collar, clinging to his only lifeline, the prestige of being the eldest son of the great tennis family. After all, as a young master, what danger could there possibly be? He rationalizes, oblivious to the threats lurking in the shadows. A lavish feast of veal steak and fine wine is presented with a bow, the maids smile, a picture of perfect servitude. Yet, swirling beneath the silver cloche is a sinister purple aura, a silent scream of the deadly malice hidden behind her professional mask. It is no simple meal, it is a lethal assassination attempt disguised as luxury. Instinct or sheer luck, with a wave of his hand, he rejects the deadly feast, complaining of an unsettled stomach and requesting a simple soup instead. The maid freezes, her professional mask cracking for a split second as her eyes widen in panic. Do you not like it? She stammers, sweat trickling down her face as her meticulously planned assassination crumbles before an unwitting target. The simple pumpkin soup arrives, devoid of the sinister aura that plagued the steak. He eats it with relish, savoring the intriguing taste and deep flavor that comforts his unsettled stomach. Unbeknownst to him, his choice of a silver spoon acts as a silent guardian, a traditional tool that would tarnish instantly upon contact with poison. In this deadly game of noble intrigue, his preference for simplicity has inadvertently become his greatest shield. Blissfully unaware of the danger he just narrowly escaped, he steps into the hallway, greeted by the cheerful Selly. The tiny maid salutes him with a bright, innocent smile, declaring, "I, Selly, will protect you with my life." Her promise of loyalty feels heartwarming, a stark contrast to the hidden malice lurking within the mansion's walls, luring him further into a false sense of security. The facade of loyalty crumbles in the shadows as the maids drop their masks. Ray, frustrated by her failed poisoning attempt, coldly passes the baton. Now it's Selly's turn. Beside her, the head maid's lips curl into a sinister smile, treating the assassination attempt not as a crime, but as the opening act of a twisted game. It's a shame if it ends so soon, she muses, revealing that the entire household is enjoying this lethal festival. The bustling mansion hides a terrifying secret. It isn't filled with the sounds of daily chores, but the whispers of a deadly conspiracy. From a clumsy flowerpot accident to a gentlemanly butler offering a venomous spider, every servant is meticulously crafting their own method of murder. The entire estate has transformed into a stage for a macabre festival, where the only prize is my death. The head maid, the supposed pillar of the household, clasps her hands in a macabre prayer, her gentle demeanor twisted into something grotesque. With a chilling smile that reaches her cold, dead eyes, she thanks the mistress for organizing this festival of death. In the dim light of the corridor, her shadow stretches long and ominous, revealing the terrifying truth: they aren't loyal servants, but eager participants in a game where a human life is merely the prey. The sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in warm hues of orange and gold as Harsel stands at the cliff's edge, his heart momentarily lighter. People look as small as fingernails, he muses, finding solace in the breathtaking view that seems to purify his soul. Beside him, the maid Selly smiles sweetly, sharing a seemingly innocent memory of her mother, lulling him into a serene, yet dangerously false, sense of peace. The serenity of the cliffside shatters in an instant. The gentle breeze turns icy, mirroring the sudden chill in Selly's voice as she whispers from behind him. "Have you decided on your last words?" she asks, her tone devoid of the warmth she showed moments ago. He turns, confused by the sudden shift, only to see her eyes darkened with a cold, terrifying intent. The secret place she spoke of isn't a sanctuary for memories, it's a carefully chosen execution site. The sweet facade completely disintegrates, revealing a monster. Selly, eyes wide with madness, licks the blade of her dagger, savoring the kill before it even happens. "My mother died because of you. Goodbye, trash," she hisses, her voice dripping with venomous hatred. In the background, the guards laugh, not in horror, but in cruel amusement, confirming the terrifying reality. The mistress ordered it, and everyone wants him dead. The conversation ends not with words, but with a physical blow. A dull thud resonates as Selly's palm strikes his chest, the force of her hatred toppling him like a domino. "I felt the palm of her hand ... double quotes," he narrates, time seemingly slowing down as his balance fails. Helpless against gravity, he plummets into the gaping abyss below, the sight of the cliff edge receding rapidly as he falls toward what seems like certain death. As his body succumbs to the pull of gravity, plunging into the abyss, his face twists in a mix of terror and realization. The nobility's embers trait flickers and dies, stripping away his composed mask to reveal raw, unfiltered panic. "A useless ability," he screams, cursing the cruel irony of possessing a god-tier skill with a fatal flaw. The wind roars in his ears, a deafening accompaniment to his desperate struggle for survival as the ground rushes up to meet him. As he plummets, fragmented memories of the original owner flood his mind like a kaleidoscope of sins. A drunkard throwing plates, a tyrant abusing weeping maids. Hairsoul was a scoundrel despised by all. Trash, doomed to die, the hateful whispers explain everything. He realizes with horror that he isn't just falling. He is drowning in the karma of a villainous life he never lived, inheriting a death sentence signed by an entire household. The ground rushes up with terrifying speed, a blur of green and brown that spells imminent death. In this final, desperate second, his mind races, searching for the trigger to his only lifeline. How do I activate it? Panic seizes him as he realizes he doesn't know the command. With no options left, and impact a heartbeat away, he screams the skill name into the void. One second, hoping against hope that his voice is the key. An explosion of dust follows, leaving his fate hanging in the balance. One second, the desperate cry pierces the air just as the ground rushes to meet him. A deafening bang erupts, the impact force carving a massive crater into the earth and kicking up a blinding cloud of dust. As the smoke slowly clears, a trembling figure remains crouched in the center of the destruction. Alive but shaken, he questions the impossible reality of his survival. Did it ... work? Under the cloak of night, two guards stand watch at the iron gates, their whispers laced with greed and treachery. "If we write the report like that, she be dead," the younger one stammers, guilt-warring with avarice. His older, grizzled partner smirks, torchlight dancing on his callous face. "That brat wanted 80%, he reasons coldly, revealing their plan to frame Selly for murder to claim the full bounty, a chilling testament to the corruption rotting the Tennist household. The older guard, Jack, smirks with chilling reassurance, his voice a low, confident growl under the moonlight. "Don't worry, the mistress will be pleased," he declares, dismissing the moral weight of their crime with a wave of his hand. To him, a dead scapegoat is merely a convenient silence, a guarantee that their treacherous reward remains secure. "The dead can't speak," he adds, his words sealing their pact in blood and greed. As the greedy pact is sealed, a heavy, dust-covered hand lands on the young guard's shoulder, freezing the blood in his veins. A whisper cuts through the night, familiar yet terrifyingly impossible. "By the way, Jack, you know, right? 50-50. His eyes widen in sheer horror. He realizes the voice belongs to a ghost. The very man they just murdered has returned to collect his debt. The nightmare defies logic as the two guards freeze in terror, their blood turning to ice. Before them, the iron gates of the Tennist estate loom like the jaws of a beast, but it is the figure emerging from the darkness that steals their breath. How ... how is this possible ... double quotes they stammer, their minds shattering as they witness the impossible resurrection of the man they just murdered. The guards freeze as a figure emerges from the shadows, bathed in the ethereal blue glow of moonlight, or perhaps something more supernatural. It is the man they just saw fall to his certain death, now standing tall, his clothes tattered and stained with dirt, yet radiating an undeniable, intimidating power. His eyes burn with a cold, spectral light that pierces through their souls, freezing their blood and shattering their reality. Falling from their ... and alive, the older guard stammers, his voice trembling with a mix of disbelief and primal fear. A shiver runs down their spines as a figure cloaked in blue aura steps forward, not a ghost, but a vengeful god reborn from the abyss. His eyes, glowing with supernatural power, lock onto the trembling guards, freezing them in place with sheer terror. With a voice as cold as the grave, he delivers a chilling ultimatum that echoes their own greed back at them. Which one of you wants the first 50? Which one wants the first 50? The arrogant taunt is cut short by a flash of steel. Jack strikes with lethal precision, aiming to silence the resurrected noble instantly. Ping, but the laws of reality bend. The passive invincibility trait flares to life, shattering the blade against Herschel's neck like glass. Clang, the lethal strike connects, but the laws of physics are rewritten. The passive 1-second invincibility trait activates instantly, turning mortal flesh into an impenetrable fortress. Instead of a severed head, the night echoes with the sound of shattering steel as Jack's sword crumbles against Herschel's neck. Unscathed and imposing, Herschel stands amidst the falling shards, leaving the assassin paralyzed by this impossibility. The sight of the broken blade leaves Jack stammering in disbelief. Outwardly, Herschel stands unmoved, a picture of stoic power. Yet, internally, his heart pounds a wow, that really scared me. He knows his survival depends on maintaining this desperate bluff, forcing a determined expression even as sweat beads on his face. As the broken steel litters the ground, Herschel steps forward, his aura intensifying with each click of his boots. He looms over the trembling assassin, his noble blood's ember trait flaring like a silent wildfire, projecting an image of absolute, terrifying dominance. There's still half a sword left, he taunts, his voice dripping with icy confidence despite his pounding heart. Why not try swinging it again? It's a gamble of life and death, played with a bluff so audacious it freezes Jack's blood. The broken sword lies forgotten as Herschel shifts the battlefield from combat to psychological warfare. He leans in close to Jack, his voice a conspiratorial whisper that carries the weight of a death sentence. "Do you understand if I say it's a will?" He murmurs, weaving a masterful lie about a document left in the village that would expose their crimes upon his death. Behind them, the younger guard kneels in terror, already defeated by the sheer audacity of Herschel's bluff. To Jack, the man before him is no longer a mere mortal. The shattered sword, the impossible survival, the audacious confidence, it all paints a terrifying picture. In his mind's eye, Herschel is wreathed in a golden dragon's aura, a symbol of supreme martial prowess. Block all attacks with a bare body ... an extreme-level warrior. Jack thinks, his fear transforming into a twisted reverence for a master who has hidden his strength behind a mask of debauchery. The bluff holds, leaving the guards frozen in a mix of terror and newfound respect. Herschel turns and walks away, his silhouette swallowed by the darkness of the garden path. "Are your lives worth me taking with my own hands?" His final words echo with arrogance, a perfect performance. Yet, the moment he is out of sight, the facade crumbles. His legs tremble uncontrollably, a stark contrast to the unshakable master he pretended to be. Under the cover of night, Herschel stalks the mansion grounds like a phantom. He pauses at a lit window, peering inside to see Sally, the girl who pushed him to his death, sleeping soundly with a teddy bear. "She's definitely a psychopath," he hisses, pressing his finger against the glass in a mix of fury and disbelief. The sight of her innocent slumber, devoid of guilt, ignites a cold rage within him, fueling his desire for vengeance. Silent as a wraith, Herschel slips through the mansion's dark corridors, his presence unsettling the very air. A night duty maid, carrying water, nearly drops her tray in sheer terror upon seeing him, her face draining of color as if she's encountered a ghost. "Eek! Ghost!" she shrieks, but Herschel swiftly silences her with a finger to his lips and a chilling smile. "Make sure Sally doesn't know I'm here," he whispers, his request sounding less like a favor and more like a sinister command from the grave. As he practices a friendly greeting, his reflection reveals a horrifying truth. Instead of warmth, the mirror shows a chillingly sinister grin, twisted with malice. He gasps, realizing that his attempt at kindness has been warped by the villainous body he inhabits. The handsome face staring back isn't that of a hero, but of a devilishly charming tyrant, a visage born of a lifetime of cruelty. The realization hits him, he gazes into his own reflection. His attempt at a friendly smile is betrayed by his villainous features, twisting into the sinister grin of a devilishly handsome tyrant. "I look like a final boss," he admits, the cold red glint in his eyes confirming his fears. No wonder the servants cower. His face is a mask of pure malevolence, forged by a lifetime of cruelty he never committed. The morning sun pierces through the curtains, but it brings no comfort to Hersel. He wakes up groggy, clutching his throbbing head as memories of last night's alcohol-fueled haze flood back. Surrounded by empty bottles, he curses his host body's low tolerance. Never drinking again, he vows, the physical pain serving as a stark reminder of the reckless habits he inherited along with this dangerous new life. Selly's reflection in the mirror is distorted by fear, her mind replaying a chilling hallucination. From the window, she thought she saw Hersel dirt-streaked, eyes glowing with supernatural menace staring directly at her. "Damn ghost, come at me if you dare," she mutters, trying to mask her terror with bravado. But the deep fingerprints left on the glass are no illusion, a tangible proof that her nightmare might be walking among the living. Driven by fear and the undeniable evidence of her hallucination, Sally seeks refuge in the lion's den. She stands before the imposing wooden doors of the mistress's mansion, her unease palpable. The head maid opens the door, her expression unreadable, but her words sharp. "It must be true if you're here," she remarks, confirming that the whispers of Hersel's survival have already begun to spread like a contagion through the household. The sound of a slap echoes sharply through the hall as Urusel, the arrogant third son, strikes Sally across the face. "Don't play dumb," he sneers, his handsome face twisted in cruel disdain as the maid falls to the ground, blood trickling from her lip. Behind him, other servants watch in cold silence, the hierarchy of power brutally enforced as Urusel accuses her of spreading lies about his brother's death. The cold hiss of steel seals her fate. Urusel stands over the trembling maid, eyes gleaming with merciless judgment. "You are to be executed immediately," he declares, raising his blade to strike down the liar. Cowering on the floor, Sally squeezes her eyes shut as the shadow of death looms, counting down the final seconds of her life. Just as the blade is about to fall, the heavy oak doors burst open with a deafening bang. A figure stumbles in, the pungent stench of alcohol preceding him. It is Hersel, flushed and disheveled, a ghost returning from the grave to interrupt his own funeral. His voice, though slurred, carries a dangerous edge as he confronts his brother. "What are you doing to my servant, Urusel?" The room freezes, the executioner's hand halted by the impossible resurrection of the man he thought dead. "Watch your tone." The command cuts through the tension like a blade, amplified by the supernatural weight of the noble blood's embers. As Hersel steps forward, a golden aura of oppressive dominance radiates from him, instantly suffocating Urusel's arrogance. The younger brother, sword hand trembling and cold sweat beading on his brow, realizes with primal fear that the drunkard he despised has transformed into a terrifying predator he dares not provoke. The blade wavers as Hersel's shadow engulfs Urusel. "It was my order," the older brother declares with a chilling smile, spinning a web of deception that turns the assassination attempt into a mere prank. Urusel freezes, confused by this unexpected defense of the maid he sought to kill. In the background, Sally watches wide-eyed, realizing that her survival now hinges on playing along with the man she murdered. The tension in the room breaks as Hersel rests a hand on Urusel's shoulder, a gesture of dominance thinly veiled as brotherly affection. "It was just a childish prank," he lies effortlessly, rewriting the narrative of his own assassination. Urusel, still reeling from the sudden shift in power, can only lower his sword in confusion. By framing it as a harmless jest, Hersel not only saves Sally, but also forces his brother into a corner where he must accept the lie or challenge the family hierarchy. The crisp clicks of their shoes on the marble floor punctuate the silence as Hersel and Sally walk away from the scene of the confrontation. Sally, still nursing her bruised cheek and reeling from the unexpected rescue, trails behind him, her mind a whirlwind of confusion. What will you do with me? She finally asks, her voice small and trembling, unsure of her fate at the hands of the man she tried to kill, but who just saved her life. The hallway is quiet, but the air is heavy with unspoken truths. Haersel stops abruptly, forcing Selly to halt in her tracks. He turns to face her, his gaze piercing through her confusion and fear. Gone is the playful demeanor. In its place is a solemn gravity that sends a shiver down her spine. I feel no guilt or sorrow over your mother, he declares, his voice steady but cold. That's not my doing. The words hang in the air, a confusing contradiction to the man she thought she knew. The final blow is delivered not with a weapon, but with a confession that shatters Selly's reality. Haersel's gaze softens, yet his words land with the force of a hammer. I'm not Haersel, he admits, his voice carrying the weight of a reincarnated soul. Selly freezes, her eyes widening in disbelief as the pieces of the puzzle, the sudden change in demeanor, the impossible survival finally click into place, revealing a truth far stranger than any ghost story.